I messed up. Next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, comic book community. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics with another video. If you enjoy the content, click the subscribe button, gently press the like, and please leave a comment below. I'd like to hear from you. This video is about how I messed up and how I messed up because I went against all of the rules that I set for myself when buying comic books, especially online. I try to avoid FOMO, fear of missing out, for hot books. And I'm going to break down how I bought this book, how I came to it, and how I messed up. So I had been looking pretty much during the daytime, when eBay's a little slower, for some auctions that are ending at less than fair market value, and actually well less than fair market value, for raw books that I think I could, with a clean and a press, get graded and increase the value to flip. So I've gotten some really nice books on that kind of deal, and really good deals. So I was looking and I came across a book, and it is a fairly pricey book. It was pricier than what I usually go for, but when I looked at it and there was still some time left in the auction, it was a reasonable price. And I didn't set myself, the first rule I broke was not setting a firm price for myself. Like, I'm not going to go above this price, because the fact of the matter is, A, I'm looking for a deal. I'm not just looking for a book, I'm looking for a deal. B, in almost every case, this book will come around again. There are other copies available, unless you're talking about a very rare book, an error print, a variant, a golden age book that you don't find, a book that you really want for your personal collection in a certain grade. That's one thing, but just a book to flip. Now, this is a sought-after book. So I'll show you the book. And it's Fantastic 452. All right? And, you know, this was mailed in a magazine bag. I haven't really changed the bag on it because I kind of had just put it away and haven't looked at it for several weeks. So I got caught up. Now, the price was approaching $800. I looked at fair market value, I looked at what graded books go for, and I looked at what I thought a deal would be. And I was like, okay, if I can get this for about $800 and some odd dollars, I think that's a really good deal. And I think it is going to be in higher grade than the seller thinks it is. And I could get it cleaned and pressed and graded and make a profit. I chased it. It went above the price that I initially was willing to spend, because I thought, oh, this is a really good book. It's still a good price, and it went up and it went up. And then you start to add on shipping and tax, and you add on tax on a book. I bought it for about $1,200, and you add tax on top of that is a considerable amount. And so I paid more than I should have wanted to pay. For instance, I had done a video a while back about an online estate auction, and they had everything previewed in the auction, and they were doing a live auctioneer was auctioning off the comics. So I looked at the comics I was interested in, looked at the pictures, estimated grade, what I thought the value was, and I made a list of the books that I was interested in and what I was willing to bid up to. And once it got past my price, I moved on. I wasn't as steadfast in this situation. I looked at the pictures, and really it checked one of the boxes that I really like, which is I didn't really see any creases on the cover. Okay? Now, there's a spine roll. We can see this from here, but the cover is pretty clean, and I was happy about that. So second rule, ask questions of the seller. Are there any major defects? And the two questions you have to ask: is the centerfold attached? Is the cover attached to both staples? And is anything missing? So I got the book back, and it didn't appear that way, but if the cover is not detached at the top staple, it is holding on for dear life, and I don't really want to mess around with it. But I think because of the way that it lays there, that the staple is in the front rather than on the spine, there's something wrong. So I got the book, and I still figured, okay, that's not a big deal, and it'll take a great hit. But I mean, the cover does not have a, there's a little bit of chipping and overlap at the top, but it doesn't have a color breaking crease on the front cover, which for a black book like this, the black cover is really fairly remarkable. I did the page count, but I didn't look at it closely enough. There's no color touch from what I can tell. All right? That's one of the things. But I totally whiffed on looking at it again. So I was looking at it in order to potentially press it. And I'm like, so I started to look at the book. And I said, well, if the staple was more firmly attached, I feel more confident with it. And like, that's a spine roll. I can get rid of the spine roll. And then I looked at the back of the book. There's no evidence of a spine roll on the back of the book. What does that mean? Page trimmed. I totally whiffed on that, and I waited. I didn't look at this book. I kind of just put it aside, and I was busy with other stuff. I didn't look at this book for quite a while. So then I took the book, and I said, okay, let me compare it to the very next book in the run, Fantastic 453. Now, the sizes of books had variability at the time, but let's take a look. If I line the spines up, well, it's not that much of a size difference. I lined it up against a different Silver Age book, and oh no, actually, if we look down below here, there is. Actually, that's weird. Let me take this one. I know that this book, I'm pretty sure this book wasn't trimmed. This was in a collection I picked up. I found maybe 2 books in the whole collection with color touch as I went through them. That would be kind of ironic. This is cut off center. Yeah, look at this. So if I put the 52, the 53 is behind it, and you can see all of this is bigger. It's even taller by a fairly considerable margin. This book, I'll do it in the other way as well. The 52 is definitely smaller than the 53. And the other thing is, when I open up the 52, I started to look at the pages, and the artwork is, it was trimmed to such a degree that it, especially in the front half of the book, because that spine roll, it's infringing on the artwork. I chased the bidding, which I shouldn't have. I should have stayed firm with what I had. I already have a 52 out at CGC. I didn't need another one. I didn't ask questions of the seller, and I didn't thoroughly check it, especially for a pricey book, when it came into my hands. It was over a month later when I want to think about pressing out the spine roll, when I was like, I contacted the seller. He had had it for a long time. He didn't know anything about it. No, and I can't blame the seller. Totally my fault. He says it's past a month. There's really nothing I can do, And I took the L on that one. And I inspected the pictures pretty well, and I should have known, even from the pictures, that that there's something wrong with this spine roll, and you don't see the pages in the back. If there's spine roll, you should see exposure of the inner pages, because the back cover, it's just off axis. So that is my story of woe of Fantastic 452. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this book. Obviously, if I send it into CGC, it's actually the cover looks gorgeous. It's going to get a green label. I mean, Nobody could miss that spine roll, or that trimming, given the spine roll. If there's no spine roll and it's trimmed, it's hard to find. This, I mean, anyone could have picked it up. Check your books immediately, which I usually do when you get it on eBay. Count the pages, make sure everything's complete, make sure it is as described. So that's my cautionary tale for today. So I'm just going to put this book to the side for a while and be sad about it. I've been much better on eBay. And on eBay, at this point in time, when I'm looking at books and they show a picture and it's only the front cover, they don't show the back cover, I just move on. I go backwards, go back to the listings, because I just don't have time for that. Because that's one of the things. Look at the pictures carefully. And the one thing that I was very good about is cover creases, right? If there are heavy cover creases on a book that I think, you know, can get into high grade, I love that. And I fell in love with that too much with this book. Chased the price, didn't ask questions, and didn't fully inspect the book, especially for the price point I bought it at when I received it. So hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. I hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. In the meantime, take a look at a couple of other videos over here and down here. And until my next video, this is Jim saying, enjoy your comics.